About the Oriole's seal, 1 of 4. When we were closing in on completing the underground facility, unbeknownst to us, our seal plan was discovered by the Oriole. One of our comrades fell victim to the sweet seduction of the Oriole's euphoric simulations, and he was lost to us. However, the silver lining in this disaster was that this comrade was not aware of the full scale of the plan. With the information it gleaned from his mind, the Oriole focused entirely on the underground facility by the lakeside, and it paid no attention to the Artenberg or the device towers. The Oriole, having learned of our plan, took to force. The Oriole manifested reveries as its defenders, and set them upon us in the facility. However, we were saved by our decision to build the facility underground. Just one single channel connected the facility to the surface. The Reveries' attacks could not reach down 500 ARG below the surface. The attacks by the Reveries went on, day and night without pause. Eventually, our defensive line began to reach its limits. Welcome back to The Legend of Heroes Trails in the Sky. Last time, we finished up our infiltration of the Glorious and saved Josette's family. And now, we have something a little special. Yes, Olivier is giving a private concert inside the mess hall if you come to him at this point.
Right!
So yeah, they've got communications going between the Bobcats and the Arseal. Okay, fortunately, taking the Halo Rail back to the factory district is going to take us directly where we need to go. This is where we have to input the password. I'm sure Tita is really loving going in these vehicles, and yeah, as you might notice, I am bringing Zin and Tita to this segment. I guess I can go over their setups right now. I'll go over Tita first because, let's just say that Zin's a little more special. She has over 1,000 strength now, thanks to the Omega Craft. And in terms of her ornament, she's got a bunch of stuff here, but she also has Mirage Gem, and she has Luck Crest and Earth Wall, which might be kind of solid. So, I'm conducting a bit of an experiment with Zin right now. This might not work out so well, but I've got him with the cat set, just to see if this is going to help him just spam Thunder God Kick on things. That defense is stupidly low, and his Distend is not going to help very much with that, but his HP is still really high, so maybe he can still take it. But anyway, let's go for Gate Lock Release, blah 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 blah, warning, warning, warning. Yeah, we need to actually go ahead and physically use the Gospel first. It's where they made a big deal about this usable event item system at the very start of the game, but you never get to use it all that much. Ah, yes, we are totally her. Security password is, Orpheus. So, yeah, I can't talk much about that now, but that is actually something of an important term when it comes to, certain later things in the series. I forget when it's directly mentioned for the first time, though. Like, for all I know, it actually might be mentioned in this game, because Novartis was mentioned in this game, and I never realized he was. Anyway, we now have one set of tunnels. This is, I guess I can say, the last set of Lever Arc tunnels to go through. Once we're through these, we'll be at our final destination, and I brought Zin and Tita because they're, I haven't used either of them in Lever Arc yet, and Zin needs to learn one more S-Craft. He'll get that at level 80, I believe, or at least around level 80? Joshua, on the other hand, if we check his level for a second, Joshua's level 83. Now, Joshua learns his final S-Craft at level 85, and you definitely want that before going into the last fight, so I hopefully will end up getting that here, because there are actually shining ponds in these tunnels, and this is basically where all of your grinding for the final battles will take place. Wow, Estelle and Joshua only have about 100 more attack than Zin and Tita, and they're still doing considerably more damage. They did mess with the damage formulas a little bit in later games, probably for the best. And hi there! Oh. Oh. Okay then. Am I even gonna get this in? Do I have any strength buffing food, actually? Speed, what do I got here? Speed, strength and defense. I could go for a mighty essence here. This is a bit of a waste of items, and I don't know if this will actually work, but I can try, because I can use another mighty essence on Joshua. And then go bang. I would introduce this enemy type, but, it looks like, it might get wiped out before I have the chance. Okay, that's okay damage, but not the best. And, oh, I still have your, S-Craft on this one. Yeah, the best I can get is 4 Shining Palms. And this thing, the, Kalish Grey. Okay, that was actually pretty good. Huh, those two didn't even drop Seepeth at all. And they've upgraded Space Jam to Galaxy Jam! The lesser-known sequel to Space Jam, I guess. Those things are probably gonna run. Oh, one of them is still sparkling mightily. It's still going. More Galaxy Jam. I forget if that has a status ailment on it, but Joshua has the Grail Locket, so I'm probably not going to see it, even if it does have one. Do you have Shadow Spear? My heart skipped a beat there because I almost hit run, like I did in one of my fights with the. I think I know why the enemies aren't dropping Seepeth. Considering that one didn't either. It's still here. This is gonna be interesting. No death on that one. Oh, I didn't actually mean to use Death Scream. I meant to just use Shadow Spear. Yeah, it decided to flee from the Death Scream. So, yep, that's the experience cap on Zin and Tita, and I'm guessing we hit the maximum amount of Seepeth we can get from one battle too. So, I'm just gonna sit here and wait for this all to tick down because, I just want you to bask in the gloriousness that is this. I don't think that was ridiculous luck, I'll just say. Like, wow. That was insane. Yep, Joshua's definitely got it. He's, definitely got, his next S-Craft. Still going. Not even halfway done yet. Tita's level 80 now. This is, yeah. This is something. Yep, 81. 82. Joshua and Estelle are level 88. Joshua was level 83 before going into this fight. I don't even need to fight anything anymore in this entire dungeon. So there we get Joshua's Phantom Raid. And yeah, you better believe for seeing that as the S-Break, it's objectively better than Black Fang. There's no reason to use Black Fang anymore. And Zin learned Patrick Sights Yelling! You'll see why I call that move that, next time. Tita learned... Yeah, so, I said this before, but Tita is the last to learn Chain 3. She doesn't get it until the 80s. Oh, only 70, okay. I'm not actually sure what the Seepeth cap from one battle is, but, that, happens. That was the first battle? I have no words. I have absolutely no words. That was insane. Like, honestly, let me just quickly look through my save file to see what level I took on the final boss at in, my first playthrough. So yeah, I was at level 88 and 89 on Estelle and Joshua when I went into the final string of battles on my first playthrough. Oh boy, that's interesting. Let me quickly, my head doesn't work anymore after that, so I need to quickly check my maps to see where I need to go. Okay, the left and right paths just lead to chests, but yeah. So, like I said, this is where you're going to be doing all of your grinding for party members that you want to use for the final battles. You came back! Blush! Saying sound effects out loud is fun. I especially love how... If this is more Shining Ponds... Oh, okay. But yeah, I'm just gonna run from most battles now. I don't need to fight anything in here anymore. I'm just kind of terrified of getting too over-leveled. Then in here we get Curia Balm. Somewhere out there is a person who started playing Trails in the Sky a second chapter before the first game. I bet they're very confused. Yeah, that right there is actually something that I kind of want to talk about in a tangent, and I guess it'll be your tangent for the day for this area, because, yeah, we're going through more tunnels and, you know, just going through areas that look pretty similar to where we've gone through before. I guess I can finish that tangent I was talking about earlier, though, and that's that I love how the hilariously terrible translation of Mega Man Battle Network 4 had the main villain at one point say, GRIN! But, okay, I am going to fight this thing because I want to show Zin's new S-Craft. Although I also want to true distend him before he does it, just for maximum overkill points. I love that little skid that he does at the end of it. So, yeah, that's why my personal nickname for that S-Craft is just Patrick Sights Yelling! Because that's basically what it is. Look how little experience we're getting from basic enemies. Like, I mean, the game does rein in, like, over-grinding attempts pretty well, so, like, we're a bit above the curve now, so we're not going to be getting much experience from basic enemies. So things will still definitely even out, and we should hopefully still have a challenge against the later fights. Could be just your imagination, but it's empty. I mean, technically speaking, the game expects you to be level 80 for the first Ren fight, and I'm never anywhere near that high, so... yeah. We also have these things as... actually, these were regular encounters earlier, weren't they? So I was hoping I'd get to use more of Cat Zin, but doesn't really seem like it right now. So, back to that tangent that I promised to talk about. Yeah, I'll be going into this more later when I talk about my final thoughts on the game and this project, which I'll be doing as I explore the last dungeon. But, back when I first played this game, I made a video called My Thoughts on Trails in the Sky FC and SC. And looking back on it, I'm actually quite ashamed of that video, and a lot of the things I said in it. Particularly one thing. This chest is empty. You looted it already. This is a haiku. Don't think we've seen that one before. I actually recommended, oh, okay, this is also a new quote. Disappointed by the lack of treasure, you briefly consider carving a heart and some initials into the chest, but whose? Well, obviously it has to be EB, heart, J, A, I guess. And a monster chest, so I guess I can continue to talk about that, that tangent I was going on. Or I could buff Joshua now and, go for that crit turn to show off Phantom Raid, which I was hoping to show off, like, during the actual later boss fights of the chapter, but, I may as well do it now. That right there is one of my favorite S-crafts in the whole game, and you can probably tell why. Just, the Ouroboros logo appearing and shattering is just such a perfect metaphor for Joshua sort of getting over his past and saying goodbye to all of that. And the line, "I will run no more," is, I mean, it's cliche, but it fits for Joshua's situation. This S-craft is just the perfect showing of Joshua's character development, and it's just really fitting that he tends to learn it right towards the end of the game, as the thing that he uses for the game's final fights. Phantom Raid is like one of the most iconically Joshua things in this series, even though it doesn't come until really the end of the game where Joshua is the protagonist for, well, joint protagonist with Estelle. But most people, like, whenever you see Joshua mentioned among the Trails fandom, Phantom Raid is usually one of the things most fans associate with him, and for very good reason. I feel kind of sorry for Tita, but I kind of just want to be done with this fight. Like, you know, honestly, I'm not really getting as much mileage out of the Cat Z setup as I thought I would, so I might switch over to something else, because his basic attacks are really sucking without better armor and the power orb. Spiegel shoes, I think that's new. Sorry, better luck next time. Oh wow, okay, that's actually really good, but I would probably rather give that to Joshua right now, because I think Joshua really needs the speed. Yeah, honestly, that's actually not that much of a drop in speed, and for much better strength and defense. It made sense for Josette, because Josette really wasn't doing much damage, but yeah. Anyway, apologies for stopping my tangent, but yes, the thing that I'm most ashamed of in that video is I actually recommended that people skip FC, and that is because I was still caught in the mindset of, so basically, when I first played the Sky games, well, it all started when I first played, Cold Steel 1, my first Trails game. It happened right after I not graduated, but finished up my courses for university in 2016, about, like, early mid-2016. Looks like another open and shut case. Do we have the wood gem? Oh no, that one's in Ped 5, and it also has a couple of extra, things on it. I don't think it's, like, the best in the world, but it's... I may as well put it on Joshua. Okay, I'm cutting in with post-commentary here, because I didn't feel like I did the best job of articulating my thoughts during the live take. So, I kind of rushed through things on my first playthrough of Sky FC and SC. I was coming in right after I beat Cold Steel 2. And those games get to the action a lot faster, and Ouroboros gets involved far quicker than they do in the events of the Laberle arc. So I spent all of FC going, come on, get to the Ouroboros stuff already. It didn't help that the only thing that I really knew about the story is the cliffhanger with Joshua leaving and Alba revealed to be evil that I'd spoiled myself on. Basically, I only knew the big picture, and because of that, I rushed through things, ignoring all of the small world-building details, and that's really not how you should play the Sky games. All of the events of SC have so much more impact because of the build-up and development the world and characters get in FC. FC is a very small-scale game, and the stakes might feel a little low by comparison to a lot of much bigger RPGs I was playing at the time, including Cold Steel. And that's why I approached them completely the wrong way, and that's why I ended up saying, which I still regret, in my Thoughts On video, that nothing of significance happens in FC until the very end of Chapter 3. So while SC is much better from a gameplay standpoint and in terms of its core story than FC is, you're less likely to care about all that if you skip FC. Replaying the games as well has just really made me appreciate how well written a lot of the dialogue is too, because on my first time I was speeding through all of that to get to the big world-shaking plot reveals. One other thing that I only really considered recently when I found, interestingly enough, a negative review of Trails in the Sky SC by somebody who admitted to never having played FC, and it's that a lot of the time in SC you're told to go somewhere, but you're never told exactly how to get there because the game assumes you already know your way around the world due to having played FC. So that's another problem you'll have if you jump straight into SC. So that's really all I wanted to say. Most of my other thoughts can be found at the end of the credits of my FC playthrough. Basically, my opinion on the Sky games has improved a lot, and even over the course of this playthrough, I keep discovering new things that are increasing my appreciation of them. When I initially played FC, I was coming into it from the mindset that a lot of people really hated Reen from Cold Steel. And this is another reason why I brought into this fight, by the way, because this is a perfect opportunity for Thunder God Kid. A lot of people really hated Reen, and a lot of people said that Estelle was like one of the best protagonists in any RPG ever, and that she was just such a perfect and amazing character. And I suffered hype backlash going into FC from that, because I saw nothing but hate for Reen from the community, but I actually kind of liked Reen, mainly due to Sean Chiplock's voice acting, which was quite good. And so I went into this, and I went into it hearing everyone say, oh, Estelle's so amazing, she's just a perfectly written protagonist, and no other protagonist is as good as she is, that I couldn't help but be disappointed when I actually played the game. But going back, I am starting to realize that, yes, all the praise for Estelle as a protagonist is completely justified. I do think that she is a really, really, really great character, and she is definitely one of my favorite RPG protagonists now. And I think part of that is just because there's a lot of the times when they manage to get her to say exactly what the player is thinking. It's been kind of a running joke with these playthroughs, but it's even happened to people in the comments section. A lot of them have said things only to have Estelle basically say the exact same thing a few lines later. As I've said before, the only other video game protagonist I can really think of who actually did that was Phoenix Wright in the Ace Attorney series. I mean, sometimes it does help if the protagonist is a little bit snarky, especially when it comes to genre-savvy fans who tend to get snarky about the kind of plot points they see. Well, I mean, at least I sort of do, although that reminds me of how people, my Three Houses run really, really got on my case for snarking about being cliche and, frankly, in my opinion, a badly written plot point, but, yeah, that's a different issue, though. But it's not just that, it's just the fact that Estelle is kind of a, like, oftentimes when you've got a super optimistic protagonist like Estelle, you can easily just have them fall into ridiculously cheesy territory. Admittedly, Reen from Cold Steel does that too, but the thing that makes Reen work is that whenever Reen gets overly cheesy, the rest of the party members immediately make fun of him for it. That's another thing that I really like about Reen, but this isn't Cold Steel. I'll talk about that once I get to Cold Steel someday.
That's that.
Estelle's story is one of someone who... they don't really know a lot about the world first stepping into being a bracer, and they are a little naive starting out, and they are slowly opened up to more and more of the world. And it's interesting how their first attempt at getting through to Ren completely fails because they just don't grasp the absolute horrors that she's been through. But every time that kind of thing happens, she takes that experience and she learns from it. And Estelle never loses her optimism, but it never feels... I don't know, like, the way it's done doesn't really feel forced or cliche. And what's also really interesting is that Estelle, like, she's very relatable, I find. Quite grounded and relatable, while also being very funny and quirky. By the way, this is the road that's going to lead us to the Axis Pillar, which looks kind of awkward with full screen, but I'm going to crop this in editing so it looks a bit better. But yeah, like, in a way, I said before that Estelle takes some stock shonen tropes, but she manages to play with them in ways that just feel very like, a lot of what Estelle says and does feel very natural and just very relatable to just about any kind of person playing this game. And it's all the more amazing because Estelle was actually, like, created at a time when female core protagonists in RPGs were pretty rare. And in fact, the developers have even gone on saying that it was a bit of a risk having a female protagonist at this point. But with Estelle, they managed to make a character who is just very well written and one who can relate to people, like, of any gender, and I just, it's hard to describe. I'm kind of rambling a bit here, but I still think Estelle is a very, very, very good protagonist overall, and I totally agree with a lot of the things said about her now. Although, that being said, I still don't think Reen is nearly as bad as people say he is, but I'll get into that later. One thing Reen definitely has over Estelle is being fully voiced in regular dialogue, and Sean Chiplock does a really good job. I still maintain that Reen would probably be a pretty boring character if it weren't for Sean Chiplock's performance. And I just kind of wish, like, Estelle has great dialogue, but I really wish you could hear Stephanie Sheh, like, fully voice her. I think she'd do a great job. So, to cut my tangent there, Joshua is saying here that we should probably return to the Arsail first and make sure that we're prepared. And also, he's saying, I'd like to tell Julia what we've discovered. Why did he mention Julia specifically? Well, there's actually a good reason for that. That line from Joshua is a little bit of a wink wink nudge nudge. That was actually a Monty Python reference, I didn't really intend that. So, this door is locked. Emergency evacuation route all the way back to Kalmare. Automatically unlocked should any disruption occur in the supply of orbital energy from the Axis Pillar. Gee, I wonder if that implies something is going to happen after we beat the final boss. Yeah, at least as far as I'm concerned, the game's not particularly subtle about that if you read the sign, but anyway. That's not our concern for now. Our actual concern for now is to see the online shop here. Axis Pillar Station. So the online shop here, you have Water Gem, Winds Gem, Wood Gem, and Mirage Gem. So, yeah, you can get all of these if you want to, and wow, I've got a lot of Seepith. But I should probably... yeah, I'm going to go back to the ship and open slots on the people that I plan on using later first, and then open other people's slots. I think that's what I'll do. Anyway, Axis Pillar information. Hi there! Yeah, that was Weissman writing that! I am this close to actually punching the screen right now. Yeah, I actually thought that was Blue Blanc for a second. I may have said this before, but Weissman is like really, really emblematic of the TV trope faux affably evil. That's F-A-U-X, which I used to actually pronounce as forks, but no, because I'm terrible at French. Yeah, the biggest fight of our lives is definitely coming. And we're gonna need all the help we can get. And we don't need to open any more gates. So let's activate emergency operations mode for this station. And that's the final station. Now, this is something kind of annoying. So, as we go into the Axis Pillar, we're going to want to change our party quite a lot, because we're going to be fighting all of the Enforcers, and every one of them, you are not forced to bring certain party members. But if you do bring the right party members, you get unique dialogue. So I'm going to be switching up party members between each fight. In order to do that, though, you have to trek all the way back down the Axis Pillar, all the way back to this station, all the way back to the Arsail, and all the way back to your party members to talk to them. I really wish you could somehow move the base to the front of the Axis Pillar, but that's just the way it is. In later Trails games, your entire party would come with you to the final dungeon, and you'd be able to just swap in and out party members wherever you were. But here we have to walk all the way back. At least I can take solace in the fact this isn't Xenoblade Chronicles X. I really, really hated that game's party switching system, but anyway, that's a totally different issue. So yeah, this has just been the kind of randomly rambling part, and I don't know. I hope some of this made sense to you. This is just some, like, kind of disconnected thoughts. But, I was talking about, I think there was, like, one other thing I wanted to say about... Oh, yeah, that was the thing with Estelle. And the thing that I kind of worry about sometimes is... I wonder whether we may never get a protagonist like Estelle again. Because, like, as much as I don't completely hate Reen and Lloyd, and I still think they're decent characters... They definitely are the more standard, especially of JRPGs these days, type of male protagonist who has a harem of beautiful girls that the player can increase relationships with and date, that is kind of selling well in games these days, and because of that, they are less inclined to take risks with characters like Estelle. Anyway, won't go into that for now. So, they said that we should, by they I mean Joshua, said that we should tell Julia why is your name tag Estelle? That's a weird typo. Is she still going to be called Estelle, or are they going to fix her name tag here? Nope, she's back. Good. Okay. Julia had a brief identity crisis, but it's all over now. Yes, new party members this late into the game. Captain Schwartz is finally joining us. And it's not going to be just her. Mueller Vander is joining the party as well. Yeah, well, we might actually be bringing him along with us at some point so that the two of you can actually fight together for once. So, you thought the party member selection screen was full when Josette joined, but nope, there's a scroll bar. We can now choose Julia and Mueller, and yeah, their levels are about the level that you're expected to be at this point in the game, so that makes me feel less bad about getting those shining palms. I'm gonna bring both of them for the time being.
Take it. Understood.
I believe her voice actress is the same one who plays Cordelia in Fire Emblem Awakening. And Mueller, I haven't had a chance to say this, but he's actually voiced by Travis Willingham. So, Mueller and Julia are now in our party. Julia Schwartz has pretty solid defense. She uses the same kinds of rapiers that Chloe does, so any better versions of those you picked up, they'll definitely help her. And she has 2 lines, so she's not terrible at casting, but she isn't exactly the best either. She's sort of a mixed attacker in a way, although she's not particularly amazing at that, and her crafts are exactly the same as when we had her for the Orgueil fight. Mueller is, as you can see, very similar to Zien, high defense and strength. But he's a little bit, I don't know, not the best at everything else, and his orbment is one of the worst in the game. Also, most of his crafts are things we've already seen him use in the fight against Joshua in Chapter 4, but some of them are actually new. So here we are, and look at this really, really long, ominous path to the Axis Pillar. I've brought Mueller and Julia here, and I've given them some better quartz and better accessories, because now is the perfect time to show them off. Huh, Julia starts with a little bit of CP. I think that's actually the CP she would have had left over from when she was last in the party, maybe? I'm not sure. But yeah, even more of an ominous walk, and here we are at the entrance to the Axis Pillar. And, well, they're not going to let us in that easily. Heartless surprise attack once more, and we have Solid Seekers, the upgraded versions of the Port Seekers that explode now, and Riot Claw. Already they've upgraded the Riot Arms. So, this fight, we're going to, I think it's, yeah, best to start off by buffing and debuffing here. Julia's got quite a lot of water arts, as well as Earth Wall. I guess we'll set up Luck Crest. Okay, not attacking yet, that's good. Going to use arts, that's on Joshua. I actually forget exactly what these things can do. You have Earth Wall, but your cast speed's pretty bad. I guess I can have you just attack. Even his basic attack is like a 3-strike combo. And Estelle can go for Clock Up EX on, I suppose, herself. The other one of these Riot types was immune to debuff, so I'm not going to go for Clock Down just yet. Anti-Sept, okay then. Aha! My Grail Locket blocks that! Dark Matter. Which for some reason is only single targeting in this game. Okay, Seal, that's not good. But I still kind of want to get some speed buffs going. You'll sadly be restricted to what you were doing back in the first time that we fought alongside you, and just being an item bot. So, remember when I said earlier that Estelle is sometimes considered the 3rd worst character in the game, with Josette as 1st? 2nd worst usually goes to Julia, interestingly enough. I can kind of see why. She joins really, really late, and just a lot of other people would do the same thing she does, but better. I guess I have enough CP to show off some of your things. Yeah, Ragnarbind, I actually really like Ragnarbind. Watch this. Not really sure how Mueller can do that, but pulling enemies directly into him is pretty cool. And you can combo that with another art that he has, which does AoE damage. Okay, so Josh was buffed in those regards, but he's not actually buffed in strength. But still, I'm going to go for this. I don't think he really even needs strength buffs at this point. Okay, I think this might work. So now that I've got all my buffs set up and this fight is, like, really going, I can talk about something that I only found out kind of recently when I was reading Xseed's localization blogs. So, if it feels to you like Mueller and Julia are a bit of an afterthought, that's because they are. They were not playable in the original Japanese release of this game. They were actually bonus characters added to the Japanese PS3 re-release of Trails in the Sky SC. The localized Xseed games were actually able to, like, I talked before about how this game's code is like a bit of an amalgamation of code from the original, the PSP version, and the PS3 ports. In fact, they even had to graft some code from FC onto SC just to make some of the localization work. But them doing all of that weird Frankensteinian code combination meant they were able to actually add the bonus characters from the Japanese re-releases, Mueller and Julia, into the Steam version. So that's why we have them here. So yeah, it's actually kind of interesting. Okay, Death Throes. That is gonna buff everything else on the... Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Okay then. So it appears that this thing being immune to debuffs actually means that it's immune to all stat changes, positive or negative. So when those things self-destruct, they their death throes doesn't affect it because it's immune to stat changes. That's kind of sad. Okay, there's Riot Press again. Wow, that was actually kind of close. Is True Jewel Strike going to do a decent amount to this thing? That's still about, like, 1,500 damage. Okay, anything else I can show off with Mueller here? I've got Hound Gale, Blade Dance, which we saw against Joshua. I don't think he ever used this against Joshua, though.
No way.
Doesn't do anything, though. But yeah, like, that attack is him throwing, like, a dagger at the enemy, which is actually kind of interesting, because you don't normally see... Like, characters in RPGs usually just fight with one weapon. You don't often see them using a varied arsenal, so it is kind of interesting seeing him pull out, like, a throwing knife for an attack like that. That said, though, we might be having some slight issues here. Yeah, Mueller is sadly a little useless when he's sealed, because he's not good at arts. He's basically just a pure physical guy. Which is kind of the type of character Travis Willingham usually gets typecast as. And in Critical Role, he basically typecast himself in that role as Grog. But at least he got to play a magic user in the second campaign. Albeit it's a hybrid physical / magic user, because he didn't want to go full magic. I do feel like that... Well, we can actually run from this fight. That's interesting. I do feel like there are some D&D classes that would be a little, I don't know, hard to play for a first-timer. I've heard that Sorcerer can be kind of difficult for a first-time player, and I've also heard that Druid is kind of tricky for a first-timer as well. Bit of a weird thing to be talking about, but I've kind of said most things that I can about this fight, and I really should have used morale at some point. I'm really not sure why I didn't use morale. Now, depending on how things go, I might actually be able to finish off this thing with, Mueller's S-Craft. Yeah, the problem with those Seekers is that they, I believe I do have an impede attack, though, so hopefully this works. Fair, despite the blood splash and animation, it doesn't actually do damage. Okay, no status effect on that. You'd think there would be a status effect on that, but it doesn't seem like there is one. I really don't want to waste a Zerum Powder, but I kind of want to use a Zerum Powder on Mueller, just, let's use a cancelling attack here. Just so I can show his S-Craft, which is pretty cool. I forget if he ever uses that against Joshua in that fight, but I wouldn't be surprised if he did. Is that going to do enough to kill you? Okay, just barely not. That's good. Because I kind of... stop doing that. Okay. How many? I have 7 of these. I want to show this off.
My soul and sword are as one. Righteous witness.
Yeah, for a character who's a little bit of an afterthought joining really late into the game, he does have a really cool S-Craft. And just like many other characters who don't join until much later, don't worry, we will be seeing more of Mueller in the 3rd. Mueller and Julia, in fact. Basically, everyone who gets limited screen time as a playable character in SC joins earlier in the 3rd to compensate. And, yeah, why not? Let's just ban some raid to end this. No reason to let this drag on any longer.
That's that. Let's move out.
Kind of a shame that we don't get to hear Mueller or Julia's victory quotes there. Because they do have full victory quotes. And absolutely no fanfare for finishing that fight. It's just a random bump on the road to the Axis Pillar. And there it is. In there is the final dungeon. I'll go back to rearrange my party, and I'll see you when we're ready to take it on.